Hi everyone! In this video I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful maxi dress using easy Mccall'S pattern 5893. I will add I'm self-taught and not an expert seamstress, so what you see here may be different or not perfect, but I'm totally okay with that. So the fabric I used was from Spotlight here in Australia. It's a Rayon Spandex knit. It's quite slippery, soft, and has a two-way stretch. Here is the front of the pattern packet. I'm doing View D, the longer maxi dress style. I love maxi dresses, and because this fabric has such a large surface area, I thought this would work really well for this project. So here are the two pattern sheets enclosed in the packet. As you can see here, one is for the skirt and elastic side. I love that the skirt front and back is the same piece, and the second sheet here has the bodice pieces and the pocket. I didn't cut the elastic guide, I'm just measuring my elastic against it and then cutting where necessary. So after cutting all the pieces, I had piece 6 the skirt, number 5 for the pockets, number 1 for the front bodice, and number 2 for the back bodice. But here is everything laid out getting ready for cutting, and I've got this 4 layers deep. So I'm going to show you here how I've folded the long edge of my fabric up, and then I've folded it in half again. So that along the fold line of the skirt, it's kind of got 4 layers there, so it'll end up being 2 pieces of skirt. So I'm going to do a quick demo if I cut that, and then I'm going to end up with 2, and I'm going to have to cut that top fold. Here I am pinning and cutting everything out. I use a water-soluble fabric pen to mark all my notches and markings. I don't own any pattern weights, but I find pantry tins really work well for me. I also decided midway through cutting that I wasn't going to include the pockets. I think because it's quite a slippery fabric, I just felt like it would drape better without them. So just doing what I think will work best for me. So the first step to sewing the dress is doing the front bodice darts. I like to use a ruler to physically draw the dart lines on. It's just my preference. Where I've marked the dots, I'll then just match up those lines. I just find this gives me the most precise line and finish. You'll see here I'm using a ballpoint needle, as this is a spandex knit fabric, and here I'm just loading a fresh bobbin and getting the machine threaded up ready to go. I'm also doing a quick test piece on some scrap fabric to make sure my setting and tensions are right and all good before I start on the darts. Once the dart lines are sewn, I'm also just tying off those ends and not doing any back stitches. Here I am using my tailor's ham ready for the next step, which is to press those 2 darts towards the centre. Okay, so once those darts are pressed towards the centre, I've done a test piece on my overlocker or serger just to make sure the settings are right, and then I've overlocked the side and shoulder edges. From there I went and pinned the front and back bodice pieces together with right sides facing, ready to sew the shoulder and side seams together. I'm adding here a thin piece of interpacing to the shoulder seams just to give some extra reinforcement, as there will be a bit of weight hanging from them because this is a maxi dress. I think the standard is clear elastic, but I didn't have any, and driving to my local Spotlight just to get 15 centimeters of clear elastic wasn't going to happen. So once once the shoulders and side seams were sewn, the next step was to press those seams towards the back, and here is the bodice right side out, looking pretty good. From here I did the next step, which is to hem the neckline and armholes. I'm doing a narrow hem by just folding that edge in twice, getting it all pinned, and then sewing close to the folded edge. So now that the bodice is complete, I'm going to pin the skirt pieces right sides together to sew straight down both sides. I'll also finish these sides off with an overlocked edge too. So once the skirt side edges were sewn, the next step was to gather the top edge. So to do this, I'm just going to do a long stitch all the way around the top. The instructions do state to sew 2 lines for gathering, but I've only done 1. So this video is going at a crazy sped up speed, but I really took my time with gathering this up, especially because I only did 1 line of stitching. If any thread broke, I would have to do it all over again. So now you'll see me here pinning the bodice into the skirt, so it's right sides together with the top edge of the bodice facing down. So the bottom of the bodice goes up the top. So I'm pinning the sides together first and then going to find the front and ease the gathering all the way round until it seems to fit perfectly in there. Once everything looked pretty well spaced, I tied off the ends of my gathering threads and then it was ready to sew the 2 together. I'm going to go along the same line as the gathering line, all the way around through all the layers. Next here I'm marking that 6mm mark from that stitch line on the bodice side of the fabric. So this is then going to get trimmed down 6mm all the way around. So basically what will happen from here, the gathered side gets pressed up and becomes the casing for the elastic. So to sew the casing line, my presser foot actually seems to fall right on that 6mm mark. So the gathering stitching is there on the left at the edge of my presser foot, and I'm going to sew through all the layers with the bodice pulled out, and that's on the right hand side of the foot, pulled out to the top. So I'm going to go and stitch all the way around and leave an opening of about 1 to 2 centimeters to feed the elastic. To get the elastic in, I've popped one edge onto a safety pin and then slowly have fed that through carefully. To finish the ends, I'm using a dab of fabric glue just to hold it in place. I'll pin that while it dries, and I find this helps when sewing the elastic together. It won't slip around under my presser foot. I'm using a zigzag stitch here to secure it. I'm then pulling the elastic in carefully and I'm going to sew across the opening. The next and final step is to do the bottom hem. So I'm doing the same narrow hem as the armholes and neckline on the bottom edge. So by folding it in twice, pinning and then sewing all the way around close to that folded edge. I'll also finish this off by pressing it just to make sure the hem looks nice and crisp. If you've made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you for watching. You are now rewarded with footage of my dog. I'll see you next time. Bye!